Oh, howdy all, grab yourselves a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today we received the Delve tab, which was recently launched, and I thought I'd buy one and review it so that you can decide whether it's worth your while buying or not. So the Delve tab, as you can see here, stores fossils and stores resonators, some of the Delve exclusive currency types. It stores them in large stacks. I believe the maximum stack size is 5,000. And I think even the most enthusiastic delver is going to struggle to reach that number, although I'm sure there's someone out there saying, hang on, hold my beer, I'm going to get there. So in terms of the features of the tab, it allows you to see your stock at a glance. So for instance, I can check and immediately see I've got 37 perfect fossils here. And that's something that's a little bit tricky to do without the Delve tab, given that they're probably split up between a whole bunch of different stash tabs. It's a little bit different if you had all of your fossils going into currency tabs, but I don't think most people normally do that. Additionally, it stores your resonators conveniently. These things do stack to 10 now, so they're not as bad as they used to be, but they do take up a lot of room. It also has the usual premium tab capabilities, so you can list an item and say, I'm going to price this at let's just put it at something silly that no one's going to want to buy so that I don't get hammered with requests. And now these are listed at 5 chaos, and anyone that is on one of the trade aggregation websites will see, hey, this player is selling their primitive alchemical resonators for 5 chaos orbs. If you're interested in a bad deal like that, then you can use those trade tools to send me a message. But one thing it's missing is crafting space. Now, pardon me for this being so ugly. This is my standard stash, and my standard stash has a lot of remove-only tabs. But I'll just bring up the Essence tab for comparison's sake. And you can see here that I've got a Shaper, Stygian Vice. This is standard, so these existed in the Delve League, and I've got myself a couple of them. And if you want to try and hit this repeatedly with Essences, then all you need to do is just go, okay, I'll use this one on it. I'll use this one on it. I'll use this one on it. It also has space for scouring orbs as well, so that you can use the various essences that function more like an alchemy orb than the premium ones that function more like a chaos or alchemy orb, whichever's better. This functionality of this dedicated crafting slot should exist in the fossil tab, and it currently doesn't. So what I suggest that GGG do to improve this tab would be somewhere on this side, put a space for a craftable item. So you could have something that's large enough to hold a two-handed weapon that's 2x4 slots in your inventory. So a space that's basically this size. You would then be able to put any item you want in there, just like you can in the Essence tab. And then on the other side, you'd have a spot that holds only one resonator. If you control-click a resonator from your inventory, and let me just demonstrate that for you here so that you see what the normal behavior is. How do you do this again? That's why it's really laggy. The game is really laggy at the moment. So control click, you see that it takes the entire stack and puts it over here. I would suggest that functionality remains, but then you can manually pick up a pile from here and then put it into this new resonator spot. And that would only hold a single resonator, and that would be somewhere that you could then go and fill with various resonators. So let's say that you wanted to do an aberrant plus enchanted plus encrusted craft, and don't do this, that's a waste of fossils. You would then put your 3-socket resonator here, pull in an aberrant, pull in an enchanted, and pull in an encrusted, and then you would then apply that to the item that's over here by right-clicking this resonator once it's full, and then hitting this button here. The other thing that I'd like to see is a spot for scouring orbs. Because of the design of resonators, there are a whole bunch of them. Generally speaking, the alchemical ones are a bit cheaper, so players will often want to have access to scouring orbs on the same tab as they have their item that they're crafting. If you wanted to maintain symmetry and be a little bit of a troll, you could put a spot for Val orbs on the other side as well. That's not needed. That would just be a bit silly. In terms of other things about the fossil tab though, one thing that I think is missing with it is that it doesn't cope very well with multiple digit numbers of resonator stacks. So see here that this is quite legible, this 55. This you could I know it's 69, but you might not be. You might be thinking it's 60 if you weren't sure of how many had gone in. You might also think it was 68. That's a little bit annoying, so I'd like to see these numbers made a little bit clearer and brought to the front. So you'd have them be the front layer from a graphical perspective, rather than being in the background as they are here. And you can see here that 211, 244, these numbers are pretty much indecipherable. So I think that these need to be improved, and I think there should be space for actually using this as a crafting tab, taking some of the tech that's used in the Essence tab to do that. The other thing that would be nice, and I don't really think this is a solvable problem, I'd like the ability to more easily remove just one resonator, but I don't see a solution to that because I do think that having the default pattern be to take a full lot is probably the better option. Who do I recommend this tab for? If you do bulk delve crafting, then I definitely recommend this tab, so that you can see your stock at a glance and you can go, oh, you know what? I'm overstocked in aberrants. I can sell off my spare aberrants, and I'm a little bit understocked on... you're not really going to use many gilded fossils. They're more of a joke. You might decide you're understocked on sanctified fossils if you're using them a lot. So you might decide, okay, I've only got 3 of these left. I'm going to put up a buy order where I say I'm listing Exalted Orbs in a tab. I'm putting Exalted Orbs in a currency tab, in a normal stash tab, and putting a price on them of 4 sanctified fossils or 5 sanctified fossils or whatever's fair at that time in that league. And then people will occasionally PM you and say, hey, I want to buy your 1 Exalted Orb for my 6 sanctified fossils, or whatever the price is at the time. So if you're going to be doing a lot of bulk delve crafting, then you should definitely consider this tab. The other people who should buy this are people who buy and sell fossils a lot. Now that can be people who do a lot of delve farming themselves, but it can also be people who are who just simply trade a lot more than most people do in this game, and you'll have them coming in and out of your inventory all the time. In that case, I think it's worth buying. It does have quite a bit of use for you. It's not needed, however, if you don't already own the essential tabs. So the first tabs you should always buy are a currency tab and a map tab, and then the first of the non-essential tabs that you should buy is a divination card tab, at least in my opinion, and also several several premium tabs or quad tabs, depending on your personal preference. However, after that, I think it's a reasonable buy, and particularly because the price is right on it. In any case, that's my opinion on the tab. I'm going to give it a buy this unless you largely avoid delving, or you aren't a crafter, or you haven't got the essential tabs. But of course, make up your own mind on that. That's just my opinion. You got any questions? Fire away. Otherwise, hope you have a good one.